Hi, and welcome to Pet Pals. Every week we showcase animals that are looking for forever homes at the Frederick County Division of Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. I'm Linda Shea, the Division Director. With me is Randy Cooper. And this week's show is a little bit different. We actually have no dogs available for adoption. The ones that we have on our adoption floor are getting ready to go to their forever homes. So this week's show we're going to focus on some of our cats that are now looking for families. This is Jacob. Jacob came to us as a stray from Woodsboro. So as typical, when you watch Pet Pals, you'll notice that when we talk about strays, we remind our citizens that if you're missing a cat, dog, or any other pet, you want to check at the shelter. We are the only shelter in Frederick County. When we take in strays, we have limited information. Sometimes people have seen the animal around for a couple of days. Sometimes the animal's been in their home. In the case of Jacob, they had just found him running at large and brought him directly to the shelter. So looking at his teeth and his body structure, we've got him to be about 2 to 3 years old. Coming into our shelter, we vaccinated, but unfortunately when animals are brought here into the shelter population, if they don't already have vaccines, oftentimes, especially with cats, the stress introduced to them will create them to have an upper respiratory infection. So that was the case with Jacob. So he spent first couple of weeks in the shelter back in our sick isolation area. But now, as you can see, he is recovered. He's wonderful. He's very affectionate. 2 to 3 years old. We've gone ahead and neutered him, microchipped, so he would be a relatively quicker adoption. And as you can tell, he's very confident, very comfortable, and just a great cat. So if you are looking to introduce a new brown tabby into the family, Jacob is ready for his new family.
We've got to get you up so you can see your eyes.
Zuri is another stray. She came from Stonehaven Lane in Frederick. She is about 3 to 4 years old, has been at the shelter about a month. She is one of our few domestic long-hair cats. And the one thing about domestic long-hairs, you need to know your way around a brush. You need to somehow make sure that your cat doesn't get matted. Cats are stellar at grooming themselves, at keeping themselves clean, at kind of minimizing the ectoparasites that they might be carrying. But you want to make sure that you help out a cat like this with her coat. She's got that long, silky coat that sometimes can get mats behind their ears or places that they can't necessarily reach really well. She is very sweet, fairly agreeable to being held, but a little more adventuresome than our previous cat, Jacob. Again, coming to us as a stray, we don't know a lot about her. She came into us already spayed, so we know that at some point she did have an owner, and so many people don't realize that we are the one and only animal shelter in Frederick County. If you are missing an animal, regardless of where in the county, if you live in Mount Airy, Adamstown, Buckystown, Emmitsburg, Brunswick, Jefferson, we are the only animal shelter for all things countywide. So you want to make sure you check by coming in. We do have an electronic stray page, so online you can check as well, but the best way to check for a lost pet is actually to come physically to the shelter, because your description of your pet might be different than ours. But this little girl is Zuri. She is, if you're wondering, she's just about 10 pounds, so she's on the large side. But again, looking for a family that's going to take care of her for the rest of her life. So this kitty is Xander. Came to us as a stray back at the end of February. He came to us it looks like he was already neutered. So wherever he came from, somebody cared enough about him at least to have him neutered when he was in their possession. He's about 1.5 to 2 years old. He is about 9 pounds, and when cats come to the shelter, we test them for feline leukemia, feline immunodeficiency virus, so we are aware of the status of those viruses prior to placing them up for adoption. If they do test positive for either one of those viruses, we do contact rescue organizations just as an option to try to get them placed, but in this case with Xander, that's a non-issue because he's negative. Coming into us as a stray, we don't have much information other than what we've observed and seen. So again, he's about 1.5 to 2 years old. We've brought him up to speed on vaccines, including a rabies vaccine. And he did come to us from the Dulaney Mill Drive area in Frederick. So if you are missing a cat, you want to make sure that you check the shelter regardless of where you live in Frederick County, whether it's Emmitsburg, Brunswick, Adamstown, Mount Airy. You want to make sure that you check. We're the only animal shelter in Frederick County. We're sort of the common denominator, so if you're missing a pet, we would be the place to absolutely check first. So this fella we named Al. He's about 7 to 8 years old. He was found by a Good Samaritan in Thurmont, Hessong Bridge Road area, and found as a stray. He was sick at the time that the person found him, so they brought him to the local emergency vet, and as protocol dictates, when strays are found and brought to local vets, depending on the circumstances, depending on the animal's health and situation, animal control is notified. So again, we're that common denominator for any stray animal in the community. So this fellow started off as a stray, was taken to the emergency vet, and then ended up here at the shelter where we continued treating him. So many times folks will ask, we found a sick animal or we have a sick animal, what do you do with them? Well, we make every effort to treat them. We have a veterinarian on staff. She's only here 12 hours a week, so her time is limited, but during those hours she can provide diagnosis and direction. In addition to that, we have one full-time vet tech, animal care technician, and then one part-time animal care technician, and those are the two people that are responsible for providing treatments and medications for our animals, and then alerting the veterinarian if there's an issue. So Al came to us. He is in good health now. He has recovered. He's 7 to 8 years old. Came to us already neutered, so that we know that at some point he had an owner that cared enough about him to get him neutered. We've tested him for feline leukemia and feline immunodeficiency virus. He tested negative for both of those things. He's about 11 pounds, 11 ounces. He does have a tattoo inside his right ear. Sometimes tattoos can get a little difficult to read. So it looks like a CC or a 1, but we're not sure what that tattooing is for. So again, he's here. If you're missing this cat, if you live in Thurmont, if you have tattooed your cats in the past, you might want to check the shelter and see if Al is yours. This little girl is not quite so little. She is Kiki. She's about 2.5 years old, and she's a little over 13 pounds. So she's definitely not a tiny cat. She came to us previously owned, and her owner was complaining that she plays too rough. And cats are just like any other species. They've each got independent personalities. If you find that your cat is playing too rough, there's different activities. You can play with them. That kind of puts a distance between your fingers or hands and the cat. There's toys out there. And depending on what the definition of rough is, cats are predators. They do chase after things. If you have a feather toy, they're definitely going to chase after it. If toy mice, those kind of things may gain their attention with a cat like Kiki. So she was turned into the shelter. What we recommend to owners, the shelter should really be a last resort. So often issues that you might have with your pet can be resolved at home without feeling the need to relinquish. You can talk to your veterinarian, you can talk to animal behaviorists, you can read articles, you can ask for information on how to resolve some of the issues. Our desire at Animal Control is not to take in owned pets. It should be a last resort. But Kiki's here with us now. She is very active. You can tell that she'd like to get down and run around the room. She came to us, it looks like she didn't have any experience with other pets, so she's been an only pet for about 2 years, but now she is looking for a forever home that might appreciate her ability to be interactive. We're going to go ahead and take a short break. When we get back, we're going to take a look at a couple of other cats and some of our smaller pets that are looking for forever homes here at Animal Control.
Keep track of what's going on in the County Executive's office by visiting frederickcountymd.gov/Gardner. Here you'll find the office's latest news, Jan Gardner's weekly public schedule, meeting information, and much more.
Hi, I'm Tracy, and this is Catherine. We are Frederick County 911 dispatchers, and we're here to tell you what to expect when dialing 911.
We're on the line to listen, and we also have important instructions to give you. Your 911 operator needs to get essential information from you as quickly as possible by asking the following questions in this order.
What is the address of the emergency so we can send the right help to the right location? What is the phone number you're calling from? If the line disconnects, we may need to call you back. What is your name so we can address you properly? And tell me exactly what happened. Asking these questions allows operators to start dispatch to emergencies quickly.
Your 911 operator is often working closely with one or more dispatchers, obtaining important information which is relayed to responders who are on the way to your location while you are still on the phone.
This process is repeated on each call to ensure responders get to each emergency as quickly and safely as possible with the right information to provide the best service they can.
Law enforcement, fire and rescue, and other responders rely on 911 operators and dispatchers to obtain specific information that varies with each type of call. Sometimes it may seem as though your 911 operator is asking a series of unnecessary questions, but in fact this information is vital for getting the right help sent to the right place. Often, help is already on the way while your 911 operator is talking to you.
While emergency crews are responding, dispatchers continue to provide them with updated information gathered by your 911 operator.
Also, your 911 operator may be able to provide you with important life-saving direction, from how to safely exit a building on fire to CPR instruction, providing important information for staying safe and out of danger during a vehicle accident, as well as helping a caller deliver a baby.
For more information, visit frederickcountymd.gov/911 or call the non-emergency number at 301-600-1603.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Welcome back to Pet Pals. This fella is named Blake. Blake came to us also as a stray. About half of the animals that we take in every year are stray animals and half are previously owned, owner relinquished. And so often with the strays, we know from their behavior and their health, their condition, sometimes the fact that they're spayed or neutered, that they had an owner at some point. So we just never find the backstory on a lot of these guys, which is unfortunate. Blake is about 8 to 10 years old, so he's definitely a senior because he falls into that category of we're suspecting close to 10. He qualifies for an added senior incentive discount. So instead of $20 off the adoption fee, his adoption fee would be $40 off. And we understand that the adoption fee a lot of times is not a deal breaker. I think when people come to animal shelters, they're coming for the right reason. They want to give a home to a homeless pet. They want to be able to provide for that animal. So the adoption fee is kind of just something that's it's not going to make or break the deal as to whether they adopt or not. But we know that older pets will sometimes cost more in the way of veterinary care, diagnostics, maintenance. Sometimes they require special diets, so that's why we offer that incentive to kind of be exactly that, just an incentive to consider an older pet. The pluses with older pets, just look at him. He's very friendly. Their personalities are established, and a lot of times what you see is what you get. They have, with the sense of cats, they've outgrown their kitten nonsense, and they are just ready to kind of enjoy lap time. So again, this is Blake. He is one of our most senior pets on the floor at the moment, 8 to 10 years old, and he is certainly looking for a family that can offer him a warm lap. This is Skittles. Skittles has been on Pet Pals before, but we like to re-showcase animals, especially if they've been here for a long time. Just to remind you that they're still here. Skittles has been with us since the end of December. He was turned in due to his owner's health. He's about 3 years old. He had lived with other bunnies, so we know he's social in that manner, and he certainly, we can tell just by handling them, and you can certainly witness for yourself that he's very social, agreeable to being on somebody's lap, agreeable to being held, handled, pet. So very, very social. And again, was turned in due to the owner's health, and we know that that was definitely a last resort. People have circumstances that occur that's unfortunate, it's out of their control, and in the case of Skittles and his the other bunnies in the family, the owner just was unable to care for any of them and turn them in back in December. But Skittles is still here. Even if you are not interested in adopting a bunny yourself, because it can be a little daunting if you've never owned one. If you have friends that are looking for bunnies, if you want to share on Facebook, on social media, if you want to share a link to Skittles, just to put the word out there that he is here. We don't have a time limit on how long we keep animals, so we can breathe a sigh of relief. Just because he's been here since December doesn't mean that anything bad's going to happen to him. We'll keep him here as long as he remains as friendly and social as he is now and healthy. We make sure that bunnies have enrichment in their housing units, so he's got things to chew on and boxes to hide in and toys to play with and all the things that kind of keep him mentally stimulated while he's here. So if you're looking for a bunny, Skittles is with us. If you would help us out by finding him a home, go ahead and share any information that you can. Social media is typically the best way to do that. This little girl is named Spice. She is a lop bunny. You can tell that by her ears, and she is extremely friendly. She was found about a month ago on a farm, and the folks maintained her for a while, and then they've got 4 dogs and a full-time job and all other things that make life busy, so they were unable to keep her any longer. But she's been turned in here. She's a little girl. Prior to leaving here adopted, she will be spayed. We make sure that all of our bunnies are spayed and neutered prior to leaving here. And the adoption fee for bunnies is $50. And we also do the same things we do for all of our other pets. We do pre-adoption screening and checks, and we do an adoption interview, which allows you to ask us questions about the particular animal that you are wanting to adopt. You want to make sure that this time of year, as we get into the Easter season, that you want to think before you acquire any seasonal pets. We get an influx every year of bunnies about a month after the novelty has worn off from the Easter bunnies, and we certainly get phone calls about chicks that have been given as pets. Remember that the cute little bunnies and cute little chicks, they grow up to be larger animals that require care. They require feeding, they require maintenance, they require your supervision, and sometimes they can require vet care. And sometimes, as with all species, they can get sick, and that will require a trip to the vet. So before you acquire a bunny for Easter, maybe you want to consider the chocolate variety first, and then really think and research. There are plenty of resources out there. I always send people and recommend the House Rabbit Society website. That's one of the best places to go. It is very comprehensive on all things bunny related, starting with, are you ready for a bunny? If you want to research that first, you want to know what they eat. We have, I think, sometimes imagery in our heads about bunnies just eating carrots. They require much more than carrots. Carrots can have a high content of sugar, so if you're feeding them only carrots, that's not good for their health. If you feed them too many carrots a day, that's not good for them either. They need exercise outside of a pen. They need to be maintained in a clean habitat. So again, do your research, please, especially this time of year before Easter season if you are thinking about acquiring a bunny or a chick. These two little cuties came in as strays from right around the corner on Waverly Drive. They were found, somebody was throwing out the trash, and these little guys are running around the dumpster. So we suspect that somebody abandoned them as trash or near the dumpster, which is obviously inappropriate and inhumane, especially the fact that the apartment complex is within 2 miles of the shelter. So we're never quite sure why these situations happen. We're the one and only animal shelter in Frederick County. We do have an intake process. So coming in as strays, we took as much information as we could. We went ahead and we named them Ricky and Fred. They are adult guinea pigs. It looks like Fred is a Peruvian, and if there's any guinea pig experts out there, you are free and welcome to correct that. Just let us know. And little Ricky is just your basic American variety of guinea pig. And we've got them down as adults. Sometimes it's difficult for us to age guinea pigs, but we know that they are not babies. They're definitely adults. They're bonded one to another. They've probably grown up together, so we are mandating that they get adopted together. That's for their own benefit. Guinea pigs are very social little guys, and if they have a friend that they've spent their lives with, why wouldn't we extend that into the adoption process? But I think sometimes we speculate as to why people abandon animals, especially near an unsafe place like a dumpster, and we always suspect that part of it is that people are afraid of getting in trouble or associate us with law enforcement, and we're not law enforcement. And if you have a pet that you can't keep, the best thing to do is bring it to us as a last resort. If you can't keep a pet, we're certainly here 6 days a week to take intakes. We're here pretty much 6 days a week as well to answer phones and answer email requests, questions that you might have about what the intake process is, or better yet, if you're struggling keeping your pet and we're able to provide resources that will allow you to do that. We have a pet food bank. We have resources in the community that can offer financial assistance if you need medical care. So there's lots of options out there, but abandoning a pet is, especially near a dumpster, is just what we consider outrageous. But that's the backstory on these guys. Moving forward, we are looking forward to adopting them out. Guinea pigs make wonderful pets to the right owners. They do require special diet. They're prey animals. You have to keep them safe, especially if you have larger animals or predators in your home. You know, your cat or dog may get way too interested in these guys, but as you can tell, they enjoy being pet. They're very social, very quiet, and in good health. So they would make and they're talking at the moment, so they definitely agree with what I just said. So we're looking forward to placing them in a good home. Of course, if you have any questions about guinea pigs in general, we send you to, we have information here, but smallangelsrescue.org is our go-to resource for all things guinea pig. And that wraps it up for this week's Pet Pals. We are looking forward to getting these guys placed in homes, especially Ricky and Fred. We just think that they've been through enough already. So if you're looking to adopt, you want to make sure you stop by the shelter. Thanks for joining us on Pet Pals. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next time.